going to tell the Orioles how to do their job, but maybe you want to send out those season ticket renewals? This is Cory, and this is the Other End podcast.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Rob.
That's Rob's sick voice.
Yes, I'm very sickly, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because as I was explaining to you before we began, an adult woman sneezed on me.
It's what we like to call the plague.
Zika. I have Zika virus.
Quote unquote, the plague.
Yeah.
No, thank God I'm just in close proximity to you.
Anyway.
On a microphone that I'll use at some point. It'll just live forever on that.
During the midst of a trial, the client tapped me, and I leaned over, and she sneezed on me, and then apologized, and then told me what she had to say.
Did I ever tell you about the story of the stripper who coughed on me?
Yes.
So quick sidebar for the
already off the top.
For the people who don't know this story. I went to the first time I ever went to a strip club. I was there with my buddy Brian and
21 years old.
Yep.
Yeah.
18.
So that's right. Yeah. No alcohol. 18.
I turned 18, so he was like, "We gotta go to the strip club," because nobody else was 18 yet. And
you went on a Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And he sat down, and some fine enough looking woman sat down next to him.
Yeah. And
I was just like, oh, hey, good for him. And then some 97-year-old woman sat down next to me, and she's just like, hey, honey, how you doing? And, like, it's horrible and unpleasant, and I don't know any of how strip clubs work at this point. So, like, when the bartender's like, you want to buy the lady a drink? I'm just like, yeah, sure. What's another $7? And then she puts down, like, seltzer, and it's, like, $80. And I'm like... But anyway, eventually she leans over to me, and she goes... blowjob and a fuck. And just like coughs directly in my face, and I'm like, oh, blah, blah. And that would cost like $30, and I was just like, that's not a buyer's price. It's a bear market on blowjobs. That's not.
I disagree. I think that is a buyer's price.
And that's how I got the HIV. Anyway, welcome to the Other End of the podcast, everybody.
Oh, God. Oh, man. And I forgot to get the numbers, so we can't give you an exact update, but thank you to all our new followers. Make sure that you are going on to Mobby-nominated Twitter, Mobby-nominated Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, following, doing everything that you need to do so you make sure you
subscribing, commenting.
Definitely subscribing and commenting and going to your favorite RSS feed, whether it's Dogcatcher, Stitcher, iTunes, and leaving a recommendation and giving us a rating on there as well. So thank you to everybody. And our numbers are up by percentages, large percentages on all of those. So I'm glad people are following through and doing that.
It's a steady stream of people joining in on the fun.
Yeah. And I mean,
we've gone from 12 to 13, so
significant percentage upwards.
That's at least 10%. I'm not a math major, but I'm pretty sure that's 10%.
Well, and if you aren't following, then you're missing out on golden tweets. Let me find it. You feel fine.
I wonder which golden tweet it could possibly be. Could it be something about me sitting down?
So if you're not following at O the Anthem on Mobby-nominated Twitter, then you are missing golden tweets like this. Quote, whoops, sitting on something, end quote. And then cited to @LegendCB5 on Twitter. Then Cory reaches under him and grabs the controller, looks over at me solemnly and says, quote, well, sodomized by Xbox. At which point, I lost my shit for like 5 minutes.
Rob was no good for a while.
It just struck me.
The fact that I did it without like... See, I think this is something that a lot of annoying people who can't tell jokes don't know.
Yeah.
Is that the more you play into it, the less funny it becomes.
Yeah.
Like, this is a Jeb Bush problem. Like, anytime he tries to tell a joke, he's always, like, trying to, like, he, like, hunches himself into it.
Well, he does that Bushism.
Yeah.
The, like, I'm asking for the laugh. Give me the laugh. Yeah.
Or he sort of, like, changes the... Well, I got some... How about this?
Yes.
Did you see him, by the way, asking for applause?
No. Did he ask for applause?
He said he had some point, and he was just like, and that's why I'm going to make America safer. Can you guys applaud, please? And they're just like light, like
golf clap.
You could just see him like deflate, like
just like his hopes of winning the presidency.
God, what a fall! What a fall!
Well,
we'll get into it.
And I was reminded this week that unfortunately I don't know that Marco Rubio can actually be president.
Why is that?
Because after the wound that he suffered at the hands of James Hook, I don't know if he's fit for office anymore.
One of the Lost Boys.
One of my favorite memes after the debate is just Rubio's face, and it's like, Rubio. Oh, R.I.P.
We'll get into it, though. Because, yeah, sure. You could potentially be voting today if you live in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Or yesterday.
Yesterday. No, today.
Today? Oh. So you could potentially be voting.
Not going to matter, though.
Who's got time for that boring-ass shit? OJ Simpson is on tonight!
Yes.
If you're listening to it when we drop it.
Yes.
Obviously.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, because we're great. But People versus OJ Simpson. American crime story.
The most riveting television I have watched in a very long time. On actual TV.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I've... I think it was my first take to you.
Yeah.
And that is, why the fuck isn't this on something that streams? Like, God, I would binge this over and over again until I died.
I think they know. They got us. It's so good. It's so star-studded that they're just like, nope. Because X-Files, which is was the pillar of Fox.
Right.
Is available for streaming at the same time that it's available on TV. So you can stream all 6 episodes, or you can wait and watch week by week. They did the same thing with Aquarius, and Duchovny was talking about how he wasn't such a big fan of that on Nerdist. But then, so they're like, "Oh, X-Files, here, watch all 6. Maybe you want to watch on TV too." And then they're like, "We got this other program." It's the corner man. He's like, hey, no, here, I got something for you right here. Just go ahead and take it. No, I got this other stuff, though.
Well, listen, now that you've gotten a taste.
Right.
You seem to like that. I got something you're going to love.
But you're going to have to wait.
You're going to have to
wait on it.
Listen, it's just a little bit at a time. I don't want you falling out on me.
Well, so, do you remember the OJ trial?
I mean... roughly. Okay. I was 10 years old, so I don't, I
had my tonsils out, and the day I came home from the hospital was the first day of the OJ Simpson trial. So I had 14 days in a row that I couldn't go to school, and I was at my grandmother's house. And, of course, she was pissed because it was interrupting her stories. Mm-hmm. But I watched the trial as it was ongoing. And... I think
it's at that moment that Rob decided he wanted to be a lawyer.
No,
he's like Robert Shapiro. He's just like, I need to be that.
No, it was.
How
it was
do I
actually
get myself a piece of that?
Robert Kardashian inspired me. That skunk look in his hair. I just was like, I want to be that guy. But so I remember.
How do I marry somebody who's going to become the future emperor of the world?
The emperor of the empire. Yeah. But so I remember it, and the thing is, obviously we were 10, so for us it was like a big deal, but it wasn't 9/11, which was the next kind of big social thing that happened.
I do remember maybe this was just incredible foresight on my part.
Yeah.
But when the actual verdict came in, the teachers started rolling TVs into the classroom to watch it. And I seem to remember thinking at the time, I wonder if they're doing this as oh, you kids are going to want to be a part of seeing this live, and because people are going to talk about it, kind of thing.
That was you.
Yeah,
that was you.
Oh wait, it's on here. My phone.
Mad professionalism.
Yeah,
good. Yeah.
Well, we talked about it. People come to the Anthem podcast for the professionalism, so
fuck that. But so it was like my mom said the same thing at the same time about JFK. She was in school when JFK was shot, and every teacher turned on radios, and they were rushing around the school to try and find a radio. Mm. And this is going to be a big deal.
Oh, no, but so what I thought was at the time, are they actually showing this because it's going to be a big deal, or are they showing this because the teachers want to see it?
Probably the latter.
And we're in on it now.
Shh. No questions. Just watch.
This is gonna be important one day. Now everybody shut up.
Right. So, but it turned out to be, I guess, not as important. I mean, I feel like by the end of the decade, we were just like, OJ. But
I still think of OJ from time to time.
I think a lot of other celebrities went crazy and did crazy murderous stuff. And so it became more normal. And we also just took nobodies and made them stars because they were in court cases. Like Court TV popped up.
Right.
And then like Casey Anthony is a famous person and Scott Peterson's a famous person.
Yeah, but all those people sort of, like, they live and die. Like,
right.
They come into the limelight and they fade away. Like, the fact that there was so much going on with OJ, like, sort of in the periphery, made it, like, something that we'll never...
Well, I guarantee you...
Like, if you landed a really, like, prior to... OJ coming back sort of into the mainstream with the show. Like, if you dropped some sort of OJ Simpson joke, like, people would get it. Like,
right.
If I made a Casey Anthony joke, like, people wouldn't necessarily, like, oh, yeah, I followed Casey Anthony the whole time. Like, no, you know.
Well, I think also if he had been found guilty, it would have been a huge thing for us. And maybe that was it. It was more the thought of, if he's guilty, cities are going to burn again. It's going to be Rodney King all over. And then... But he wasn't, so it didn't turn into as big of a cultural thing as we thought it would. But you know what is that big of a cultural thing? The show. Because it's amazing.
Yeah.
And I learned all this new stuff that I had no idea of.
Well, and I read an interview from Marcia Clark where she basically said, they asked her, like, so how realistic was episode 1?
Yeah.
She's like, well, you know, they took some liberties. There were some things that didn't happen the way they said.
I'm not a cold, hard bitch, okay?
No, she was just like, you know, like, they came up to me and said that, like, you know, he's going to be your co-counsel, but, like, I actually asked for him, and, like, you know, things like that. And things they made assumptions on, I guess, based off of the fact that nobody else was in the room, so they had to sort of connect dots.
And her personality would say that she's not one who wants a co-counsel, so
right.
This is how it must have gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they were just like, all right, well, I mean, that seems sort of like here and there. And she's like, yeah, I mean, for the most part, it was fine. Like, I didn't take any, like, broad exception to it, so. Well,
that says something about the writers. They did a really good job.
Yeah.
But, I mean, things like, I didn't know Cochran knew Christopher Darden beforehand.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Apparently, they were buddies. And, by the way, spoiler alert. Sorry, spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the first episode, what are you doing with your life? Mm-hmm. Watch it. It'll be on before the second episode is tonight, so you get a good chance to do that. But, like, Robert Kardashian, for some reason I thought he was brought on because he was a lawyer. And he was like a super lawyer. No, not at all. He was OJ's friend.
Yeah.
And
I knew that part.
See, I didn't realize that. And I thought that he was actually just like a lawyer.
I didn't know he wasn't practicing anymore. I
Right.
thought he basically just joined in, and I didn't know he didn't do criminal cases.
Right. Yeah.
Those parts were new, but I knew he was OJ's friend, and that's part of the reason why he got involved.
I also didn't know that he called him Juice all the time.
Yeah. And I also didn't know that OJ tried to shoot himself in Kim Kardashian's room, which might have put an end to our national.
A word?
Yeah.
I wonder if
we had a traumatized Kim Kardashian, then
she would have started sucking dick a lot earlier, and then it wouldn't have been mattered. So, but no, I wonder if she knew that. That's the kind of thing that, like, you wonder if she watches it. If they watch it and they were like, I don't remember going to that funeral. Or I do, but I didn't realize it was that big a deal. Like, Mom's friend died.
They probably don't watch it, but somebody who works for them watches it and then just relays, like...
Right, yeah.
So you were mentioned at the funeral.
Yeah.
They mentioned your name when OJ had a gun in his mouth.
Was about to kill himself in your room. Yeah.
It's like, wait, what?
But I also, for some reason...
happened?
I don't know. I think the writing was excellent because by the end of the episode, they had covered almost nothing. The murder and then the next day is really all that they covered.
Right.
And I'm like, he's going, like, the Bronco is gone, and then end of episode. I'm like, what? We've covered nothing.
Right.
But it was riveting the entire time.
You know how many episodes it's supposed to be? 10?
Yeah. It's going to be good. So all of next episode is going to be the Bronco ride, and then them getting him turned in.
See, but the case was so long, wasn't it?
Well, it was a long trial, but there was a lot of... So for a little inside line on people, really, I don't want to say infamous, but cases that get a lot of media, it takes a long time because they take the jury out all the time. Because when lawyers want to argue motions and things like that, they don't do that in front of the jury. Because they don't want the jury to hear something they're not supposed to hear until it's okay for them to hear it. So, like, during the day, you know, you come out.
You'll be surprised that in or in lawyer shows like Law and Order, when they like approach the bench and talk,
right? That almost never happens.
Yeah, that happens more often in chambers.
Or they take the jury out and then they argue on the record. So a lot of times they'll take the jury out, they'll go back into chambers, they'll have a little argument, they'll come back out, they'll put on the record what the argument was, they'll redo the arguments, and the judge will rule. So it's all on the record.
Right.
And then jury comes back in. But now it's lunchtime, and we've wasted an entire morning arguing about a motion, and the witness has not even said anything other than his name.
Yeah.
So, it can take a long time. It can be very slow. But I don't know that works for TV. That's the thing. Is we're not going to get into all of that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, people would... I've heard people say, like, oh, man, if I ever did jury duty, I want to do something really exciting like a murder. I'm just like, it's not as exciting as you think it is. It's just like...
Yeah.
It's almost more tedious because there's more of like a...
Well, you don't get all the information that you get when you're on the outside.
Right.
When you're sitting in that box, you have almost no information. Because people just, there's limitations on what you hear. The Stephen Avery jury didn't hear half the stuff that we heard in Making a Murderer.
Right.
The stuff that we're about to hear in OJ, the jury didn't hear half of that. It's just, it's very boring.
And, there's things that get tossed out beforehand, like you can't talk about this, or
right.
This is excluded from evidence, or...
And you see the highlights of the expert testifying. There is a long process of so let me explain to you the 90-step scientific process that we go to, that we put the blood in and we get a result out. And they have to go through every single step. And did you do that? Yes, I did that. And what was the result? This was the result. And what did you do next? Well, the next step in the accepted practice is that it is so boring. And so when you're in a jury, when you see it on TV or when you see the highlights, you're like, oh my God, that was such a big reveal. And I'm like, but they're bored. They've been sitting there for 3 hours before you get to the reveal.
Yeah.
But the show itself is fantastic.
Yeah. So good on you, FX. And I can't wait to watch it tonight.
And speaking of Law and Order, the guy who used to be on Criminal Intent as the prosecutor is playing Johnny Cochran.
Yeah. Choose a side. I like that read.
Well, and I gotta say, I think that there is a lot of ways you could take him, and I think he's done an excellent job. It's not over the top.
Right.
Johnny was over the top in public, but the understanding is that in private he was just like, I do what I got to do. I got to get media attention. I got to get people's eyes on it. This is what I do. And the discussion about the suit, lime green. Michael don't like lime green. It scares him. So, I just
want to have a closet like that.
Oh my God. It would just be black shirts as far as the eye can see for me, but
it's just plain black tees.
All black t-shirts.
Which of my 900 plain black t-shirts am I wearing today?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but that's a fantastic closet, and obviously none of his wife's clothes. I don't know where those are. His clothes are all in the closet. So
listen, honey, you could be gone tomorrow.
Suit's gonna stay.
Suit's gonna stay. Oh, speaking of football,
yes.
So I don't know if anybody watched it, but on Sunday the Super Bowl happened.
Oh,
you remember?
Oh, you mean that the American sports thing, and all the cosplayers were getting real serious about it?
Yeah, that's not even important. OJ Simpson.
Yes.
No, so the Super Bowl happened. We are recording on Saturday.
Obviously before the Super Bowl, yeah.
So we don't know what happened.
Oh, that's not true.
But in fact, we do know what happened.
Absolutely.
If you listened last year...
and why wouldn't you?
At this time, there was a special episode, or a special segment we did, where we did the highlight reel of the game without having seen it. And I'm not gonna lie.
So
I mean, it was a little bit over the top. It was a little bit exaggerated.
Yeah.
But I felt like it was close enough, and at the end of the day, we predicted the Patriots were going to win in a close game.
Yeah, we did.
So, what more do you want?
On the nose.
So, we figured we'd relive that moment and do it with the Super Bowl this year.
Yay! So, sickly going to stumble through it.
Rob is going to try his best.
Yes. Ugh.
I wonder how loud this is going to be now that I've adjusted.
Do you not remember where you put it?
No.
Professionalism.
Hi, welcome to the Anthem podcast, where our middle name is Professionals. Yeah. So yes, Sports Ball Nightly
Dun, 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 dun.
Dan Rydell, Casey Bacall.
That's a deep pull that most people are not going to get.
They're like, what? Yep, here we go.
All right.
Super Bowl 50 live from Santa Clara, California, which, by the way, is an hour outside of San Francisco, for the Denver Broncos versus the Carolina Panthers. First offensive play, and the pocket collapses around Peyton Manning, and he is sacked to death. In comes an HGH-riddled Ashley Manning, who leads the Broncos down the field with their superhuman, completely legitimate strength. Broncos lead Panthers 7-0.
End of the first quarter, Jonathan Stewart breaks a tackle and has nothing but open field in front of him. This play, which started on the Carolina 1-yard line, has a chance to be a 99-yard touchdown run. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10... Suddenly, he stops at the 1-yard line and lays down before the touchdown. Next play, Mike Tolbert punches it in for a touchdown, and the Carolina Panthers tie it 7-7 on a fuck your fantasy team special.
Halftime show, 115 million people switch over to the Puppy Bowl because fuck Coldplay. Plus, tired of supporting Roger Goodell even a little bit.
Out of the tunnel for the second half, Cam Newton with a brilliant read on a safety screen, reading the wide receiver post at the exact moment the linebacker drops underneath for coverage. The foresight and the athletic prowess of Newton leads to another Panthers touchdown that will be minimalized to I hate black people by half of Twitter in seconds.
24-14, and the Broncos line up for a long field goal that sails through the uprights and ruled no good. Gary Kubiak immediately challenges the play, and the head referee takes a 2-minute break under the review hood to go away Baton and get the NFL another commercial break. Of course, the play stands because the referees are terrible at their jobs.
Early fourth, Ashley Manning finds Emmanuel Sanders on a fade route to bring the ball to the 15 and eventually have to settle for a field goal. This kick actually misses, but they give it to the Broncos anyway because #makeup call.
End of the fourth, Ashley Manning is leading the Broncos down the field in a masterful 2-minute drill, using her 24-inch pythons to drop bombs all over the place. Closing seconds, she simmers the ball into the hands of Demaryius Thomas for a touchdown. Unfortunately for the Broncos, they choose to run a quarterback kneel rather than kick the extra point. Doesn't matter to the NFL because the Broncos covered the spread and cost people a lot of money. Carolina Panthers are the Super Bowl champs.
Woo!
Hit the post!
Hit the post!
So yeah, if you're wondering, we are predicting that the Carolina Panthers are going to win, but not by much.
No.
And if you're a gambling person, you might want to put the money on the Broncos.
Why is that?
Because they're not going to cover... Because Carolina's not going to cover the spread.
Oh, okay.
Which I think is like 6.5 points right now.
That's pretty close for... And, weather in Santa Clara this week. Who knows how that could turn out.
Earthquakes in Santa Clara.
What happens if the Super Bowl is interrupted by an earthquake?
They just play commercials until they can come back to it.
On repeat.
It takes
charging.
2 weeks to play the Super Bowl. They just 2 straight weeks of commercials on CBS. I think that's how it works.
Oh, fair enough. Okay, yeah, well, I mean, lucrative for the NFL.
Yeah.
Clearly, so.
And people are going to watch it because commercials. Hey, who's the new colonel? I need to know.
But also, maybe they go to the Puppy Bowl, and the Puppy Bowl runs for literally a week. It'd be great. Yeah.
I got my money on Team Rough. The audible sigh. I love it. I love it.
Things that I will never do in my life. Watch the Puppy Bowl is at the top of that list.
I love the Puppy Bowl.
I don't get it. What is it? What's the deal?
Puppies.
I get that it's puppies. I get that part. What's the appeal?
It's puppies. Who doesn't love puppies? And you see them playing.
This guy, I guess.
Yeah,
how do they play football? Clearly, they can't play football.
They don't. They just run around and they play, and then they basically have somebody who I have to imagine is high as fuck commenting on the game.
Okay.
Just looks like Buster's breaking out for a long one.
I would prefer a lingerie bowl in the midst of the Super Bowl.
They had one of those.
I enjoyed that. And as a red-blooded American male, I watched the shit out of that.
There was a great Onion article that came out about a year ago because it was on my time hop.
Yeah.
Where it was millions expected to tune in to Puppy Lingerie Bowl.
No. But anyway, as you can tell, our care about the Super Bowl is so little, except for the things that are surrounding it.
Well, I'm going to watch it. I just don't imagine that I'm going to care that much.
I may not even watch it. I may just Uber people before, and then when it dies down during the game, I'll just go home. So, yeah. I mean, I don't... It's not that I don't care. I just don't care.
That's a very clear distinction.
Yes. It's
somebody reading the transcript would totally know what you're talking about. By the way, we have transcripts. I don't know if anybody reads them.
Make sure you click on YouTube, go down to the automatic translation. We'll be totally clear, I'm sure.
It's on otheanthem.com/ what the fuck are you wasting your time on now?
That's a very long
it's a message
address.
to me because I just transcript everything. Sometimes if you wonder why the podcast comes out on Tuesdays, maybe Wednesdays, it's because I'm just spending all the time like, I need to get the transcript out.
For the captioning? So you can send it to the captioner? Yeah.
Doesn't even caption. Just a transcript.
Fair enough.
In case somebody writes us and says, can we get a transcript of the...
No thank you.
And then they can read it and they just have it on paper in front of them where it's just like...
Yes.
And then it was sodomized by a Microsoft.
by Xbox. But so, as far as the game is concerned...
Yeah.
Any thoughts?
No.
Peyton Manning, bones brittled by HGH, may in fact be injured.
I just want Peyton to lose.
Just
like...
Well, it's not that you want Cam Newton to win. You want Peyton to lose.
Well, I mean, if it was anybody, really, I'd kind of be rooting for them.
Okay.
Over Peyton in a way. Like, I don't know. I don't like it.
That big ass HGH forehead that he's got rolling with.
I mean, it was prior to the HGH stuff, really.
Right.
Like, I've never really liked Peyton Manning. He's one of those people, kind of like Jeter. Like, when you have too much going for you, there's a turn where I stop wanting good things to happen. Like, I don't want Peyton Manning to go out on top.
Right.
I kind of want him to hurt himself.
Well, and here's the question. Does he come back next year?
No.
If he doesn't win?
I don't think the Broncos bring him back.
Does anybody? I mean, there are some teams that would be like, you know what? The Cleveland Browns. We'll take him. We'll take him. It's fine. Suit him up.
Listen, he can't get in any trouble like Johnny Manziel did, and then all of a sudden he punches his wife, and it's like, God damn it! We just got browned!
Maybe it's this team. Maybe it's this city and this team.
Maybe we are just physically cursed. Like, maybe it's us.
Yeah, and Johnny Football not going to be playing next year, apparently.
Did you read the statement from his agent, by the way?
Oh, as soon as I saw that his agent made a statement, no.
By the way, agents dropping clients is something that never happens. Ever.
Especially when that client's getting paid a shit ton of money to not play football.
Ever.
Yeah.
Ever. Well, he gets that money anyway.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
I mean, not all of it. 'Cause, I mean, like, he gets paid for everything that's happened up until the point where he doesn't get that contract anymore.
Right.
Anything he negotiated, he gets a cut of until...
But you would think that no matter what, there's endorsement deals. People are still paying him to do endorsements, so...
Not for much longer.
Well, yeah, maybe not.
I just... the fact that his agent basically was just like, I hope he gets help. It's like...
Well, he left rehab and went to a bar. So
and then punched his girlfriend allegedly. So
no, didn't that's been said to be untrue. They're null processing the charges, and the girlfriend said she made it up.
Last I heard, they were looking to charge him.
I think that the girlfriend admitted that she made it up on Facebook or something, that she was just looking for attention. So women.
Everybody, this is a lawyer.
Hey, listen, my record speaks for itself. Ugh. But no, so, and again, we've gone off topic from the Super Bowl because nobody cares.
Yeah, we're literally trying to fill time with things that matter more, which is, like, when's the last time you didn't care so much care at all about a Super Bowl? Like,
I mean, in the end, the problem is I think that the championship games are becoming bigger than the actual Super Bowl. Well, the AFC championship game is becoming bigger than the Super Bowl because you're seeing, like, Manning and Brady, or an upstart Ravens team come in and to sweep through the playoffs, or like Ravens Steelers,
right?
And I mean, so like these are becoming big games, and it's just bigger than the Super Bowl.
You know, honestly, I think I would have preferred that the Patriots make it to the Super Bowl,
really,
over the Broncos.
Why?
Because if the Patriots won, then I would get the satisfaction of watching Roger Goodell hand the trophy to Tom Brady.
Yeah, fair enough.
Which would be entertaining. Like, so we talked about John Scott 2 weeks ago on the podcast.
Yeah.
He played in the NHL All-Star game. He won the MVP, and not like in like a haha, let's vote for John Scott for MVP too. No, he scored 2 goals.
Yeah, he was more goals in that game than he had in any season. Yeah,
he was on fire. He was in fuego. And his team won the tournament, so they got the big fancy $1 million check.
Right.
And Gary Bettman walked out, the commissioner of the NHL.
Who looks kind of like the devil. Walked
out with it and handed it to John Scott. And you could just see on his face, I hate everything about this. I'm going to needlessly take a fan in the back room and rape the shit out of them to make myself feel better about what I'm doing right now. Jesus. It's the only way I can feel better about, I've given the fans too much joy. I got to take it away somehow.
Just to that one particular fan.
Well, I mean, he'll work his way around the country eventually, but
he doesn't have Silent Bob.
He doesn't have time. He doesn't have time right now.
Why? Oh, that's mid-season, right?
Yeah.
Mid-season. Got other things to gotta do.
I mean, realistically, he could only get the people in Nashville at that time.
Right.
So.
But so no Brady, so no moment with Goodell.
Yeah, no moment with Goodell where he has
I'm so happy for you. Yeah. Congratulations.
You're such an exceptional athlete at the top of your game. Here's your damn fucking trophy. At this point, what does it matter if Tom Brady won another Super Bowl?
Yeah. Well, and I guess it's also the schadenfreude of denying Manning his Super Bowl in his last season.
Yeah.
When he struggled so hard to get it. I guess when Brent Oswego, or whatever his name is, the backup quarterback, struggled.
Brock Osweiler?
Brock Osweiler struggled so hard to get him there. Yeah. So, Peyton didn't really do a lot, but...
Peyton was there in the beginning, throwing 19 interceptions in 7 games.
And he was there at the end, too, to save him. So yeah. But in the end, it's Cam Newton... I mean, the other side of it is, I love Cam Newton.
I'm so fucking tired of racist people trying to act like they're not racist.
And I'm looking forward to the tweets. That's I only want to get somewhere not driving so I can just read through the hashtag Cam Newton tweets. That's really all I want. So it'll be more entertaining than the game.
Well, not only that, but I've automatically been able to start picking out people who are racist but aren't out racist.
Yeah.
Racist in the closet, because the people who tell me I don't like how he celebrates and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I usually come back right at him with all right, well, I mean, every single time Aaron Rodgers scores a touchdown, he does the belt, and there's a lot of, I mean, pretty much Joe Flacco is the only one who doesn't he gives a fist pump, and that's about it.
Yes.
I'm sure if they mic'd up Joe Flacco, he'd be like, hey, touchdown. Good stuff.
If he gets really excited, he tears his ACL and then hobbles off the field.
Shit. I think I tore my ACL. All right. Well, let's get to the huddle real quick so we can
let's get this drive done. We got to get in field goal range.
Hold on a second. We got to wait 30 seconds for the 2-minute warning. So let's everybody just take a breather. It's all right. Don't worry about it.
Hey, Joe, your knee's not looking so good.
Yeah, it's things. Things
cool
happen.
Joe. Yeah.
Yeah, Joe Flacco isn't a showboat, but I mean, most other, almost every athlete showboats a little bit. And then the fact that
Gronkowski.
Yeah.
Tom Brady.
Yeah. And if you make the arguments all the time of just I hate Rob Gronkowski and his stupid spikes and his stripping on Good Morning America and
those abs, those fine abs,
those fine pearly muscular abs.
With the V that goes down into his pants, drawing my eyes in the naughty direction.
Mike Huckabee, tell me what else you think.
Oh, yeah. Well, speaking of other things that we really don't care about, the Iowa had a caucus this past week, and New Hampshire is having their primary today.
Iowa had a caucus. Quote unquote, Ted Cruz won. Quote unquote, Hillary Clinton won.
And that's the state of American politics today. Nothing is secure. Well, Hillary Clinton theoretically did win. Any allegations of fraud aside, she won it on 6 coin tosses.
Yep.
And my suspicion is that there may be another Clinton child that isn't with them anymore. The only way that happens is if you sacrifice your firstborn to Satan. Really. And her entire career can just be summed up by she must have sold her soul to Satan at some point.
The people who are very supportive of Hillary Clinton no matter what.
Yeah.
Do you think there's anything she could do to make them not?
She could shoot a man on Fifth Avenue.
I would almost imagine that if, like, much like we talk about Trump, like, not being able to do anything to lose support.
Yeah.
I imagine if Hillary Clinton just, like, went out for, like, a speech and she says, like, "Hail Satan!" Like, she wouldn't lose any vote that she was already going to get.
And the defenders. Listen, we have freedom of religion in this country, and
I don't know if you heard about this.
And I don't care who she worships, as long as she is doing good work in the things that I want her to do good work in. That's really, and I mean, that's it. That's the whole thing.
Who cares how much money she took from a bank?
Oh, God. Well, and so let's see. Let's start with the Democrats in Iowa.
Okay. No more Martin O'Malley.
Oh. And my favorite. It's an ugly cry.
I know. I'm doing Martin O'Malley tears.
My favorite thing is the thing that you shared to me, which was Bart and Nelson rolling their fruit down the aisle. And it's like, go Hillary, go Bernie, and then
Ralph,
go O'Malley, plunk into the banana. So
I can't remember who. I heard it on a podcast somewhere, so I feel bad that I'm not attributing them directly, Sarah Koenig. But there was somebody who was talking about if you're in the O'Malley campaign, don't you imagine at some point you would just call, like, the news networks and be like, "Listen, I'm out of it. There's no need to put, like, 49% Hillary, 49% Bernie, 0.6% O'Malley. Can we just drop my name on that list?
Yeah.
I'm not in it anymore, so just like all night he has to look at that, like.
And well, in another episode of We Called It, what was your prediction last week?
That he'd be done by 8:00.
And what time did he talk about suspending his campaign?
I think it was about 8:45, 9:00, something like that.
There you go. Didn't even make it to New Hampshire.
To be grand, the caucus started at 8.
Right. Well,
so it was a little bit improper of me to claim that he'd be out by 8.
Right.
Like the first vote gets cast, he's like, "Well, I'm out." It was either 100% or nothing for me. For old Barton O'Malley.
Martin O'Malley. But so unfortunately we won't have Martin O'Malley to kick around anymore. He's out of the race.
He's gonna have to go home to his house and sit on his discount furniture and stew.
Discount furniture. The 5-finger discount furniture. Yeah. But anyway, so then
he also did you hear he lent a personal loan to the campaign on like Friday for like $500,000. And all I'm thinking is like, why even?
Do you not read your own poll numbers? Yeah. What are you thinking?
That's $1 million that almost anybody else could have used.
Yeah, but no. So
unless it was like closing costs.
What? Of the campaign to wrap it up. It might have been that. It might have been, I don't want to raise any more money, so here, cover my closing the campaign down cost. But so there was some indications that Hillary Clinton's camp may have had some impropriety on some voting. Mm-hmm. By the way, Iowa, join us in 2016 with the some of the caucuses are like walk into a room and we count people. Like that's not how we do things. Let's not do them that way.
We cut off the head of the chicken and whichever one he lands in.
So and then
whichever box he lands in is where all our delegates go.
The second side of that argument is if it is within the margin of error as determined by the Board of Electors in Iowa, it's settled by a coin flip.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, what? Look, we're already in a system.
We spent all this time counting people. And...
We're already in a system where your vote doesn't actually elect anybody. Your vote picks somebody who then goes and votes.
I would almost... if they're going to settle it on something arbitrary, like a coin toss, I would almost prefer them to settle it by some other art, like
rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, or a breakdance contest.
Walk off. It's a walk off. Yeah.
Rap battle.
Oh God!
Spaghetti.
I mean, it would. At least it would have some entertainment value.
Yeah, I mean, but I would like to see Bernie Sanders fat rhymes.
And apparently he's a pretty good actor, so thanks to Tamara for letting us know about that.
Yeah, Colin, you're out.
Yeah, sorry, Colin.
You've been cut.
But no, so the 6 districts settled on a coin flip. Hillary wins all 6. So it took voter fraud. It took miscounting votes. It took buying off people. It took Debbie Wasserman Schultz. It took.
By the way, there was a
coin
debate
flips.
on Thursday that I was just completely unaware of.
Thursday. I had no idea.
I usually keep my ear to the ground on that sort of thing. And if the guy who's actually looking for your debates can't find them,
yeah,
then I have to imagine that nobody watched.
The first debate that gloriously Martin O'Malley was not in. So it was just like a bitter battle between the two of them.
I'm sorry, Anderson. Can I speak? Can I speak here for a second?
No,
I'm sorry. We got to take a commercial break, Martin O'Malley.
Sorry,
we got to take a commercial break. Whoever you are.
Yeah, O'Malley. Who's she?
Never heard of her.
But I mean, in the end, this is how
tidbit nipply up there.
In the end, this is how we pick the elected leader of our country. By coin flips and counting heads in a room, like heads up, 7 up, like we're in elementary school. I can't believe that this is it. This is what we have come down to. And people seem to still care about this. I care about it just about as much as I do the Super Bowl. So,
I care about it more than the Super Bowl, but I'm not of the mind to necessarily care about Iowa.
Well, Iowa doesn't. Although they have picked the correct candidate 50% of the time over the last 50 years. So that's like, it's like a coin flip.
It's almost like 50-50 exactly.
Yeah, you would think,
Let's move on to the Republicans, because I think there's more...
Well, and so...
there's more sexy pillow fights on that side of the...
So, we're still waiting on the Supreme Court to weigh in on whether
How about we settle it with that?
What?
Sexy pillow fight.
I don't want to see either Bernie or...
No, you get a representative. Like...
Giselle?
Hillary, find your hottest Iowan. And Bernie, you find yours. And then we'll have a sexy pillow fight to decide.
Can we go outside of Iowa? Because I feel like... I feel like that might not...
Bernie Sanders' competitor, Julie Brown, the farmer's daughter. It's just like... Hillary's combating in the sexy pillow fight. This cow.
Oh.
Brr.
The cow just refuses to go down.
Give him hell, Lucky.
We've gone so far.
You're doing it for the first lady.
So far off the deep end. I can't. But anyway, so the Republicans.
Is Lucky a good cow's name
anyway? I don't think people name cows. You number cows. Good luck, A117.
You got it, Bessie.
Bessie is a cow's name, yes. But, so we are waiting on the Supreme Court to rule whether or not Cruz can even run for president. So there's issue 1.
Is there jail time associated with this?
No. It's just that he's disqualified. And in the meantime, he may be disqualified for actively defrauding voters in... Now, see, that part, there is jail time for.
Oh, good. That's the part I was talking about.
Oh, yeah. No, not for running if you can't run. There's no jail time. But there may be jail time if they can say that the campaign...
Can we just send him to jail for being a douche?
I wish. God, there's so many people.
There's so many people who would get sent away for that.
To be fair, they'd give me the chair. So.
Did you see the video, by the way, speaking of Ted Cruz, of his daughter walking off the bus and him trying to give her a kiss?
And she just walked away?
No, she's just like... like her body actively fights it. Like, I don't want people to see me being kissed by you.
Oh, good.
You're the flesh of my loins. Come here. No.
We have a second candidate say that if she wasn't my daughter, I'd probably date her. Thanks, Republicans. Thank you. But no, so apparently there was an auto dialer that called voters in Iowa and said, no, it wasn't an auto dialer. It was mail. It was direct mail.
Right.
That said that turnout's low in your district, and so you need to come out and caucus. And it goes against your permanent record or whatever.
Right.
And then, but it was targeted to people who seem to be Cruz supporters. However, they come up with that in their little program. So
anybody who's been to church in the last 3 months.
Yeah. So then also there was a message sent out to all the precinct captains that said, tell Carson voters that Carson's going to drop from the race, and therefore they should caucus with Cruz. And I saw a number that said that of the 1,500 or whatever precincts, that if 4 people from each precinct changed their mind for that reason, that's the difference of victory for Cruz.
Mm.
So,
Cruz over Trump?
Cruz over Trump. Yeah. Because remember, those were Carson voters, so those voters would have then gone to Carson.
Right, because you would have had... Carson was at like 10%, so he was a ways back, but...
It wouldn't have made a difference necessarily for him, but it would have brought the top three in very close contention. So...
well, I mean, Rubio almost finished second.
Yes, he did. And I think he's looking and proving that he's the only legitimate candidate at this point.
I'm just worried about Rubio. I really am.
Rubio.
I'm concerned. I have concerns.
Why is that?
I just don't think that he's very good at this. Like,
every time I see him, I still think of Futurama. Jack Johnson versus John Jackson. Every time I'm like, oh my god, you are that candidate for Futurama.
He does look like something that was created in a lab to run for the Republican Party.
He does, yes.
Like we're gonna find out later that he was the first test tube baby raised on the morals of
Manchurian candidate.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? He's a Manchurian candidate. You've heard it here first.
Rubio.
Oh
man, if we got 3 weeks in a row of we called it with that.
He snaps and murders everybody at a rally.
When's Jeb Bush going to drop out of this thing?
Okay, well, yeah, so another development out of Iowa. We lost Rick Santorum, who apparently was still running for president. Wasn't aware of that exactly, but we also lost Mike Huckabee. Mm-hmm. One of my other favorite things to come out of this
was the tweet.
Yes.
Yeah. There was a tweet that went out that said, given Mike Huckabee's beliefs, I'm paraphrasing here. Given Mike Huckabee's beliefs, I think he should have to carry this presidential run to a full term.
I agree 100%.
I loved all the tweets that came after that too, where it was like, well, if it wasn't meant to be, there's going to be natural ways for the body to reject it.
Well, I guess the American body politic did reject it. So, good. But so we lost Santorum, we lost Huckabee. Didn't lose Fiorina.
Lost Rand Paul.
Although what I heard about that was I think he's going to run as a libertarian. I think he was giving up his presidential run for a Republican.
Right.
And not necessarily giving up the campaign as a whole. So.
I mean, he did what? He was in 5th?
Yeah. That's why I said I think he did well in the voters he wanted to do well in. It's reached the point where his message isn't going to spread anymore, so run as a libertarian where you probably belong.
Yeah. And he might get a real chance at getting...
The 5%?
5% to get on the debate stage make it a 3-horse race.
Yeah, yeah.
Whenever it becomes Rubio, Clinton, and...
and him?
And
really?
him, yeah.
Is that your prediction, Rubio, Clinton? Rubio!
You see, I think Rubio, with the third place finish in Iowa...
Yeah.
Was enough for most conservatives who've been kind of unnerved by the Cruz-Trump thing to back him. It's like, listen, Jeb's dead in the water.
He's not going.
Carson's not good enough.
No.
Rubio's the only legitimate candidate we have.
Or Carly Fiorina.
She's not good enough either. She
didn't qualify for the debate.
She shouldn't be president.
Yes.
Like, I'm not... No offense.
Because she's a woman. Clearly, Cory, I understand your perspective.
Her far smaller brain kept her from...
Cory hit the anthem back up.
I only said far smaller because she's Republican. Not...
Oh, okay. That's not a comment about her being a woman. Sure, okay. But no,
she's somebody running for president as a Republican. Clearly, she has a smaller brain than the rest of us.
But the problem is that this whole discussion is, who is the lesser of the worst people? Who's the lesser worst person? It's not like, we got 3 great candidates. How are we going to choose between them? It's like, this guy's a nut job, and that guy's a political crazy, and so this guy's not as bad as them.
Right.
We should nominate him.
Yeah, that's basically the logic.
It's American electoral system in a nutshell.
I just wish there was a decent Republican to run. Like, if... I don't know. I still haven't necessarily given up on Rudy.
Yeah.
Like,
Giuliani?
Yeah.
I got an idea for you.
If he just came in and he was like, I think I'm going to run. I'd be like, all right. I'm okay with that.
I got an idea for you. Martin Scarelli for the Republican nomination for president.
Well, he did piss off a lot of people in Congress.
He's ahead of the curve.
I expect that there are many pictures up here.
Yes.
In the video on the YouTube for people who haven't seen of him doing his smirks and his
fucking A. I hate him so much.
Yeah.
Can someone just kill him and put him out of my misery? That would be really helpful.
He's the other thing too is like when you usually plead the fifth.
Yeah.
You do it, at the advice of my counsel. I've decided to invoke my Fifth Amendment privilege.
Yeah.
Very, but he was doing it very at the advice of counsel. I've decided to invoke my Fifth Amendment privileges. Fuck you.
He looked a little more like Kiddo Kalin from OJ. I have prepared a statement. At the advice of counsel, I invoke my Fifth Amendment rights. And I just hate him so much. So much. And it's not... there's no just... I mean, there's a justifiable reason, because, everything he did, but, why is he not in jail? Why is he not in jail?
Well,
Adnan's in jail. Adnan's in jail, and Steve Avery's in jail, and this jackass is walking around.
And OJ's in jail.
Oh, what?
Everybody who's innocent is in jail, and everybody who's guilty isn't.
I don't want to go that far.
I guess we should talk a little bit about Adnan, since you brought it up.
Oh, yeah. Well, certainly if we were going to take a walk down to the Baltimore Corner...
Where you get the straight dope?
We at the top of the list would be Adnan Syed's PCR post-conviction relief hearing. Occurred at the end of last week and is probably going on as you're listening to this on Tuesday because it was extended to Monday, but I doubt they finished by Monday. So
yeah, they probably keep going.
Yeah, and I think the judge has been good about whatever time we need, however much time we need, we're going to take it. So
now, from a legal standpoint,
sure,
seeing as you have a fancy degree in that.
Sure.
Do you imagine that either way this ends up in an appeal?
Yes, both ways it ends up in an appeal.
Yeah.
Because it'll be, if it's denied, there's an automatic appeal because the only reason he got a hearing was because the Court of Appeals ordered that he get a hearing. So my understanding, at least, is that it would then automatically go back for review to the court that issued the order for the hearing. If he's granted a new trial, the state will most likely appeal because this is what the assholes at the state do. Whether it's Manitowoc County or Baltimore City, they keep just defending bad decisions.
Right.
To the end.
So there's no chance you think that they just let it go.
Well, I think there's a chance that at the end they let it go. That whenever it goes up on appeal and then they appeal upwards to the Court of Appeals and it's sent down and they said, nope, new trial now, that they just don't give him a new trial. And I think there's a good chance that the court may give him a release pending appeal, because the appeal could take 18 months. So if he is going to get a new trial, and if the impression of the Court of Special Appeals is we're going to uphold that new trial, they may release him on bail. Withhold the passport and all that stuff.
Right.
Release him on some ungodly amount of bail, which apparently the Free Adnan Syed Fund has. So good.
Yeah.
Put it all up there. But it will go up on appeal, and my guarantee is that either way it will, and it'll probably end up in the Court of Appeals, most likely because the state will continue to appeal it. And at what point are we just going to say, how much money do we waste to keep this kid in jail?
Right.
The judge who heard the original case, who denied PCR the first time, is now saying, you're right, there is enough here. This is the guy who has been anti-Adnan from the beginning. Well, I don't want to say anti-Adnan, but convicted him and then denied him relief at every step of the way.
Right.
Has now changed his mind. At which point do you say, how much money are we going to waste to just try to keep this old bad judgment in place? But that's the way our system works.
Yeah.
They don't have to appeal. They don't have to do that at all, but they do. It's a lot of frustration, and I'm glad that people are seeing kind of how the system is set up. But my guess is that he will get a new trial, and the state probably won't pursue it because I don't think they have the evidence. So hopefully people are following along, and hopefully you're not trying to get through downtown Baltimore anywhere near the circuit court, because good luck.
Yeah.
Monday's going to be crazy. It was the middle of the week. It was a Tuesday, or it was a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I said, man, I wish I could get up there, but it's the middle of the week. But now that it's on Monday, it's people who are fuck you guys, I'm taking off Monday. and who will be there on Monday. It is going to be a circus. But make sure you tune into Serial, although Serial's updates will no longer be in person because Sarah has to go home. But check out Undisclosed Podcast at Undisclosed Pod on Twitter and Undisclosed Podcast on your RSS feeds. That's my preference because it's 3 lawyers. Now, for some people, they may not be able to follow everything that they're talking about, but I think they do a good job of breaking it down. But I think it's more in depth than Serial. And they're there on the ground. There are 2 people on the ground at the trial, one of whom may end up being a witness for the defense. So
really,
yeah, Rabia was the one who got Asia's affidavit and got her to sign it and stuff. So she may end up being a witness. But Baltimore's in the news for something that's police related. Who would have thought?
Well, I'm not going to. I don't want to minimize it because it's kind of shitty.
Yeah.
But there was a fight in Fells Point on Friday night.
Speaking of police activity.
And that fight led into a car accident where the car backed up. And
you say accident,
people.
but accidents usually are like acts of God.
Yeah.
Dude ran some people down.
Yeah. Well,
in an effort to escape.
Yeah,
he did.
I'm kind of, I immediately after watching the video, I had thoughts in my head of what would I do in similar circumstances. Yeah. And you could see them break into the window. Like, they broke the window of the car.
Open the door,
tried to pull him out, and that's when he backed up violently like that.
Yeah.
To try and escape. I mean, they probably both deserve to be in jail. Yeah. Both sides of the fight.
Yeah.
But I lean a little bit more sympathy to the driver over the guy who was busting the window, because...
Yeah. But again, it's like when somebody punches you in school and then the teacher looks right when you punch them back.
Yeah.
That video doesn't show what caused the guy to get violent.
Right.
In the car. So.
But I'm sure there's video everywhere. The little blue light cameras are everywhere, and Fells Point is littered with security cameras.
Yeah.
And, like, it'll come out. Like, we'll figure it out. We'll piece it together.
Do you think they caught the triple homicide that also happened in Fells Point last night?
Nope. But they're investigating it as 2 separate things, or the whatever it was at Royal Farm, shooting, stabbing.
What the murder?
Yeah.
At Royal Farms on Boston Street. Yes. Luckily, I was called out of the city last night, and I was doing a lot of county runs, so thank God, because I wasn't involved in that craziness. And here's the question. Do you think Fells Point's dead tonight? Do you think there's, nobody there?
Well, there is a Republican debate on TV, so...
So people may come out.
Yeah.
What did the murder count up to? That wasn't the first 3 of the year, was it?
No. No, of course not. Don't be stupid. You're just being ignorant right now.
That's ignorant. You're being ignorant. But this is the city that we live in. And by the way,
at what point do we just forcefully remove her from office? Like,
what point should we have? Probably a while.
Well, I mean, no. At what point do we actually do it? I mean, we should have done it
long ago.
Yeah. Somebody should just walk into the mayor's office and just grab her by the hand and be like, "You're done.
That's
Come
enough.
on, let's go."
That's enough.
No, come with me. You're done. We're gonna find somebody else now. No, you've done enough. Nope.
But
Nope.
We got some voice. We got some voice episodes. Voice episodes on the. I got stuff. I got stuff on the DVR here.
We'll ship it to you.
Out immediately before you can do any damage.
Yeah.
But good news on that front.
And then immediately put her into the stocks and drag her around town.
I was thinking the Hannibal Lecter thing. So she couldn't do any damage. Just.
Well, no, because there's got to be part of this plan involves allowing the town people to throw rotten fruit at her and stuff like that.
Just wheel her around on that little cart and let people throw stuff at her.
My son died because of you.
We can't allow everybody whose son died because of her to do that. We don't have the time. We don't have the
produce.
But good news on that front, though, because at the 0 hour, we have a new candidate for Baltimore mayor.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. DeRay McKesson has joined the Baltimore mayoral race.
Yeah.
In a surprise.
Well, now you're a lot more familiar with him than I am.
Yeah.
Seeing as you're on the cutting edge of the movement.
Am I? I didn't realize I was on the cutting edge of the movement.
Well, you've been more involved in the movement than I have.
Yeah. So DeRay has gotten some notoriety for being a very public voice in the Black Lives Matter movement and what was before the Black Lives Matter movement. Basically, since like Mike Brown and even stuff that happened before that, he's been a very vocal component. He's gotten invited on CNN a lot, and all the news networks a lot, and he basically gave a lot of racist assholes the what for. So, I don't know. My concern with DeRay, as much as I respect him, and I think that he's going to be a great candidate for mayor, is that it's a lot like Ralph Nader running for president. Like, I know that his environmental issues, got it.
Right.
But you can't be a one-issue candidacy. And I think that for DeRay, that it's the violence and the police and the murders, and although those are all separate issues, they kind of fall under the same umbrella. And then we got a lot of other things going on here that, poverty is also something he's really involved in. But I think that those two are very connected. I don't know how much experience he has with schools. I don't know how much experience he has with budgeting, with road construction, with regulation,
right,
with all that stuff. And Nick Mosby, for what it's worth, has had a lot of experience in government, and he knows how to do all of those things. Now, he may be less idealistic, and he may be more center of the road, and the problem is we can't Frankenstein ourselves a perfect candidate. We can't say that and in a lot of ways, Bernie Sanders is that candidate, because he's still idealistic and crazy, but he has a lot of experience being idealistic and crazy. So, I met him a couple of times in Baltimore during the Black Lives Matter stuff. He was there while I was doing the bail reviews for people. Well, he stopped by for a little while. It's also the same time I met Joseph Kent, who is another local, I don't want to call him a celebrity, but...
the one who got abducted on national television.
Yeah, the one who got black bagged on national TV, yes.
Yeah.
I met him and his lawyer there, too, at the same time. So, so there's a lot of good stuff happening, and I think that, not that they would ignore that issue in the race, but certainly now they won't be able to.
You know what I like about it? I don't. At the end of the day, I don't think I would vote for him per se.
Because he's black?
No.
I hear you. Okay.
If I was my sole discretionary thing about voting for somebody who's running for mayor was not black, then I would have a very lonely list of people to vote for.
David Warnock.
Yeah, that's about it.
And there you go.
And Embry.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
No, I much the same as you said. I'm a little bit worried about the ability to do the budgeting and concern for general city services, schools, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
What I'd like about it a lot though is that every once in a while we get a candidate like this who runs for some sort of office and then pushes the discussion to what really needs to happen.
Right. Exactly.
Now, there were candidates, in the 60s and 70s who ran even though they didn't have a legitimate chance of winning, just to get the conversation going on the topics that were important to the people who were...
Yeah.
It was a lot of civil rights and a lot of women's rights, and, you just get somebody who's compelling and, can draw a crowd and motivate people. And, it sort of sorts it out. I mean, right now, Sheila is still leading... by a decent enough it's beyond the margins.
Right, yeah.
Now there's still a huge undecided,
and we have a lot of time, a little bit of time left to go.
Yeah.
So,
and I would very much like for there doesn't seem to be a lot of attention to it either.
Well,
we get
yet, yeah.
I mean, the problem with the Baltimore City race is that it's not going to take a lot of actual votes to win.
No.
Because
so many candidates,
so many candidates, and beyond that, not that many people vote.
Right.
So you get a city of 400,000, and you get 1% of them who vote.
40,000. Is that right?
you can do that. You can make up that ground.
Yeah.
And he has 300,000 Twitter followers. 250,000 of them live in the city.
Yeah.
then
well, and I will say the other good thing I like about him is he is not a politician, which I know people say a lot, but what I've heard him say is that, like, I can't speak on that. I have no knowledge of that whatsoever. And I think that if you're looking for a candidate who will say, I don't know how to fix the schools, but you know what I do know? I know that guy and Dr. So-and-so and whatsoever, and I'm going to bring them in. And I'm going to say, hey, give me a plan.
See, that one I don't necessarily agree with, though, either.
You don't like that?
I don't... no, because if you told me to put a cabinet together...
Right.
Cory's elected president. Put together your cabinet. You know, I would look around for the names, but I'd probably be fascinated by the people who spoke to me the most.
Okay.
Like the person, maybe the person I pick for as the Secretary of Defense isn't necessarily the best person for the job, but I pick the guy who, like, speaks to my idealism of it the most.
Do not vote for Cory for president. Mr. Baker, I'm a little worried. Your Secretary of Defense has no foreign policy or military experience.
Your Secretary of Defense is actually just a potato chip bag.
It spoke to me.
Put a Cheshire cat grin on my face, and I'm like, at the advice of counsel, I've decided to invoke my Fifth Amendment privileges.
Yeah. But so...
no, but I mean, I'm totally fine with him shaking it up, because I think... I worry that there's too many candidates who are all saying the same thing. Because, I mean, it's clear the Baltimore City Police Department needs an overhaul.
Yeah.
It's clear that crime is out of control. It's clear that the schools are failing. It's clear that infrastructure is crumbling around us. You know, all these things are pretty obviously clear.
Yeah.
And you got a lot of candidates who are sort of speaking in generalities of, like, you know, like, well, I think an important part of, you know, improving the relationship between the citizens and the police department is having more of an open line of communication between the two. You're just like, okay, that sounds like a fair starting point. How do we do that? Or what does that entail? Well, we'll work on the plan more as we go. And I'm just like,
Oh, well, no. So I think that
there's a lot of, like, sort
that's
of
not
like...
what I meant, though. What I mean is that I think that he's the person who would say, here's my plan for fixing the schools, A, B, and C. And here are doctors so and so to explain how he came up with that plan. But he's not saying that, like, I am an expert in schools. And
no.
What
I'm
I
not
hear
saying...
from the other candidates is I know how to fix everything, and that's just not the case.
Right. But part of the problem is that you are going to bring in people who are, you know, part of the same machine that caused the problem in the first place.
Not necessarily, because that's the thing about him. He has a national and global reach. He could bring in the dude who I love from Arizona who set up school systems that are churning out 100% graduation rates and 90% college graduation rates. Bring him in to fix schools. But can Nick Mosby do that? Not Sheila Dixon, but Stephanie Rawlings-Blake couldn't get a police commissioner from a city that didn't already have problems with beating people to come to the city. And then when he didn't work out, she picked his second in command, who also had horrible public relations. But, you know, DeRay comes in and brings in the retired Philadelphia commissioner who's been marching with Black Lives Matter. And he's like, this is a guy. He's got experience. He's got the right mentality. And I know him. And I'm going to put him in as commissioner of Baltimore.
Right.
Boom. He's got greater reach because of who he is.
Yeah.
And he says he has a plan to fix things, and his plan is, I've talked with several people, and this is what we've come up with. I don't have the answers, but I've gone to people who know, and we formulated a plan, and here's the plan. So, DeRay, if you need somebody to work on your campaign, I'm just saying I'm available. I don't live in the city now, but I could, and I'd love to vote for you if you gave me a job and moved me to the city.
Well, it sounds like you need
keep me in a little apartment. I'll be a cat man.
It's like the same pitch you made to Google last week.
What you're going to notice over the next few weeks is Rob pitching to every possible job. Yes.
Did we have anything else on the...
That was everything.
That was everything.
Yeah.
You know what else is everything?
What is?
OhTheAnthem.com. Cory to OhTheAnthem.com. Oh, the Anthem on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, YouTube, and the listener line. 443-219-7595.
What's that number again?
443-219-7595.
And make sure you check out robertncheek.com for you can find all the information there. Make sure you follow me on all social networks at Robert N. Cheek. And on that website, you can also find links to the books that are available on Amazon, the 2 that are available now, and then soon to come at least 2, maybe 3 more in 2016. I'm going to have a lot of time to write soon, so I'm going to be looking forward to getting some writing done.
All right. Well.
But also, watch out for the GoFundMe page. I'll be posting that. I need your money. Help me out.
Don't be that person. All right. Well, I think we've done good here today.
We've done something. I don't know if it's good. But
well,
after all, as always, God, I'm losing it. As always, this has been the OD Anthem podcast, part of the OD Anthem Digital Network. For Cory, this is Rob. Have a great week, everybody. No outro?
That Cam Newton and his damn athleticism.
Ruby! Oh!